My name's Sonu Lamba, and today we're making Tuscan potatoes. So I had these potatoes in Tuscany more than 10 years ago. My husband and I had rented a car and we were driving from Florence to Montepulciano, which is a town known for their wine. The most famous wine is Montepulciano d'Abruzzo. And we got to our villa really late and the restaurant had closed. And so we were starving and they offered us this contorni. Contorni is a side dish. And so it was these rosemary potatoes with truffle, and I've never had potatoes that wonderful. I think I ate the whole bowl. I don't think my husband got much that night, but these potatoes were fantastic. And so it took me a long time. I think I finally perfected it. So Tuscany is part of central Italy. Tuscany is known for its Renaissance art. Michelangelo's David resides in Tuscany. It's also known for its wine and its olive oil. Now, you have to use these particular potatoes. And I'll talk a little bit more about these particular potatoes. So there's three kinds of main potatoes. There's russets. Russets have less moisture and they're very firm. They're used in like a traditional baked potato. There's red potatoes that are really waxy. They have more of a higher water content. Red potatoes can be used in like mashed potatoes. This is the perfect potato for in-betweens. So this is a gold potato. It's also known as the Yukon gold potato. This originates in Canada. These potatoes are perfect for roasting and sauteing. They have a wonderfully buttery flavor, and they have, look at this like thin skin. This skin crisps up really well. This is the perfect potato for the dish. If you don't have this potato, go to the grocery store and get it. Do not try this with any other potato. It will not turn out. You have to use this potato. So let's get started. So we've got 4 potatoes. This is intended for about 2 people. My son can eat these 4 potatoes on his own. He eats this almost every other day. He loves this dish. I'm gonna use a sprig and a half of rosemary. Definitely use the fresh rosemary. The dried form doesn't have that flavor. It will not perfume the potatoes as well as this will. This is a very earthy, peppery, it's a very strong flavor, but it makes the potato. Finally, I'm gonna use some truffle salt. Again, this is salt that's been perfumed with the truffles, black truffles in particular, from Italy. And I'm using some black pepper, and I'm using some extra virgin olive oil, and that's it. So you basically need these 3 ingredients, some olive oil and some pepper, and you got yourself some potatoes. So you gotta give this one a try. It's that good. Great. So we're gonna be making our Tuscan rosemary potatoes. I'm gonna start by doing a central cut this way. Then I'm gonna go horizontally, just like that. Okay, now I am going to probably do about 8 pieces. 8 to 12 pieces is good. So you can see these are quite big. These are not very small in terms of size. And you want to keep them a little bit bigger so they don't start to cook down too quickly and become like a mush. This needs to maintain its own shape. So keep them on the bigger end. So there's one. Okay, I'm gonna continue on. Okay. Okay, so all our potatoes, or 4 of them, are cut. I'm gonna take my cloth and just try to get rid of some of the moisture. So when this goes in my stove, I don't have extra splashing of oil going on. So just gently pat them. That's great. Okay, that looks great. Okay, so I've put my stove here on low. Okay, so this is on low. I'm just gonna give it a few minutes, and then I'm gonna go ahead and put my extra virgin olive oil in there. And then to that, I'm gonna add my potatoes. I'm gonna give it just 2 minutes because I actually preheated my stove, so it's already a little bit warm. So this is medium-low heat. If my low heat is at 9 o'clock and my high heat is at 3 o'clock, I'm at about a 10:30, 11 o'clock. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and add my extra virgin olive oil. Okay, that is about 3 to 4 tablespoons. I'm gonna give that just a minute. Great. Okay, and now I'm gonna go ahead and put these potatoes, I'm gonna put them the cut side down so they cook nice and evenly. You're gonna hear it sizzle. It's okay. Okay, I'm gonna put this in, just like that. I'm gonna just do some of these a little bit smaller. Okay. Okay, once I get them all in there, I'm gonna cover this up for 9 minutes and I'm not gonna touch it because I am trying to get some, I'm trying to crisp these up. So these really need to cook undisturbed for about 9 to 10 minutes. Again, I'm gonna add just a little bit more olive oil to the middle. It's kind of gone towards the side and I want it to cook evenly. Okay, that's great. Put the lid on, just like that. Leave it alone for 9 to 10 minutes. Don't touch it. Now, in the meantime, I'm gonna go ahead and chop my rosemary. So there's only 2 real ingredients in here. There's fresh rosemary and then there's that truffle salt, and that's it. So I'm gonna take my time getting this as fine as I can. Okay, I'm gonna grab this. First, I'm gonna coarsely chop it, and I can go back if it's not fine enough. Okay, that looks great. And you can smell the rosemary. It smells so good. It's woodsy and earthy and very, very aromatic. And it's actually quite easy to grow rosemary too. I love rosemary on my potatoes. That's like my favorite way to utilize it. I also like it in like grilled portobello caps. It just adds that, just puts the dish together so well. Okay, I'm gonna go a little bit finer here. Okay, and if some pieces are bigger, that's totally fine too. It'll add some nice texture to the potatoes. Okay, so this is a sprig and a half of fresh rosemary. I'm gonna wait for my potatoes to cook. And again, this is the brand that I like. It's the San Francisco Salt Company. It's really, really good. And I get this from Amazon. And so probably another 4 to 5 minutes. And then after that, we're gonna turn it over and we're gonna let it cook another 9 to 10 minutes. And then after that, we're gonna flavor it. Great. So it's been about 9.5 minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and check first, and then I'm gonna flip it. So I'm gonna carefully take my lid off just for a sec. You will hear it sizzle. Okay, and I'm actually looking for this type of crust, just like that. It's nice and brown. Okay, I'm gonna very carefully give this a flip. Be very careful. You don't want it to splash on you. Do the best you can. Great, you can see how nice and brown it is. All the sides. Great. Okay, now I'm gonna let this cook another 9.5 minutes, just like that. I'm not gonna disturb it. And then after that, we're just gonna put our rosemary directly on top of it, and our salt and our pepper, and then we're gonna let it cool for about 5 minutes, and then we can try it. So I like to use a stainless steel pan for this, because a stainless steel pan gives that nice crust that you just saw on these potatoes. If you use a non-stick or anything that says, oh, you don't need to use oil, you're not gonna get that crispy exterior. And this potato, you need it crispy, because that's what makes the dish so Tuscan. Okay, so our potatoes are done, and I'm gonna tell you how I know they're done. So I'm gonna take my lid off, and if you look at this color, you can see how they're nice and caramelized. And the reason they're caramelized so well is because the starches from the potato, they have caramelized really, really nicely. And that's why you see this crispy texture on the exterior of the potatoes. Now, you also don't want to add your salt till the end, because if you add your salt first, it's going to pull the moisture out of the potato, and hence the potato will not crisp up. It'll become like soggy. Okay, so the way I know it's done is, do you see how nicely and evenly this is cooked? It's kind of all over. I like to go for at least 3 to 4 sides, nice and crispy. So this is great. Now, I'm gonna add my salt. This is the truffle salt. I'm gonna take truffle salt and definitely add a generous share of the salt. Probably gonna do about 4 rounds of this. Okay, now I'm gonna add my rosemary. Okay, I think that's enough salt for now. There's my rosemary. You're also gonna hear that rosemary go in there and start sizzling. It's gonna cook down just a little bit, which is great. Final ingredient is my pepper. So I'm gonna take my black pepper, and in Tuscany they use a lot of fresh cracked pepper. Adds for a wonderful spice. Okay, just like that. Okay, now I'm gonna let this be. This is gonna stay, the heat is off. I'm gonna let this cool down for about 5 minutes. I'm not gonna put the lid on. If I put the lid on, they're gonna get soggy. I want them to continue to stay crisp. I don't want moisture in my pan now. It's cooked, it's perfectly cooked. And I want them to continue to stay crispy. So I'm gonna let this be. I'm gonna tidy up just a little bit. And I'm gonna get we're gonna plate this really, really soon. So let me get my plate so I can try it. I love to pair these potatoes with some cayenne pepper sauce. So I'm using this brand right here, Red Hot, Frank's Red Hot. And I love it with these potatoes. It's the perfect pair. So let's get ready. Time to try. So I'm gonna try potato on its own, and I'm gonna try it with my cayenne pepper sauce. These are perfectly cooked. They're very buttery. You can smell the rosemary, you can taste the rosemary. Each bite has this punch of black pepper. I love them. Very, very comforting. Gonna dip some in my hot sauce here. With international travel being where it's at, why not bring a little bit of Tuscany to your own kitchen? You gotta try these potatoes. Tuscan rosemary potatoes. I love them. These are awesome for a brunch. You could try these with burgers. Instead of burgers and fries, try burgers and rosemary potatoes. You could do a brunch with some tofu scramble, some rosemary potatoes, some whole grain bread with jam. There's a lot of versatility with this dish. Gotta try it. Thanks for watching my show.